when you finally let them let their guard down, you push them to that point, you got them going forward.
It's a warehouse, so as they're trying to build a sales order or a delivery, it's not working.
Right.
Now I'm looking crazy.
Welcome back to Sustain Train. My name is Alfred.
And I'm Xavier.
And before we get started, go ahead, like, share, subscribe, so you can stay in tune on everything we got coming your way. All right. So today, we're going to be touching on a couple of topics. For one, how to avoid some of these pitfalls when it comes to training facilitation. Also, from a virtual standpoint, how do you make sure that your virtual sessions are engaging? We're going to touch more on that as well. And lastly, how do you know when your training actually was a hit? Yeah. How do you walk away knowing, okay, they really got it?
I killed that.
And what I was trying to say resonated with these end users, you know? So let's go ahead and jump into it. So when facilitating the training, what are some of those pitfalls that people should look out for, whether you are a trainer or end user?
Whether you're a trainer or an end user, I say one of the biggest pitfalls to look out for is when a trainer doesn't understand the aspect of reading the room. I've seen it happen firsthand. I've been guilty of it. You know, when you don't read the room and know your audience, it's easy for that training to get sidetracked, right? So whether that's the end users being disengaged, talking amongst themselves, staring at the space, just not focused, right? That training is going to get derailed fairly quickly. Yeah. And it's going to take a hope and a prayer to get that train back on track.
Right.
You like what I did there? That can get that train back on track. But in all seriousness, though, like, you have to be able to read the room and be able to shift and pivot when necessary to get that engagement back and get that involvement back from the end users. I can remember, like, I'll take a teacher, for example, when one of my teachers in high school, Mr. Duncan. Now, I won't put my homeboy out there, but one of my homeboys was in that class. And you know how the teacher calls on you to read. So you might be reading the chapter. You know what I'm saying? You might be reading the chapter in the book, but to make sure the whole class is reading along, he's going to call on somebody to read. Well, that didn't work too well because he called on people to read. You know, homeboy like, I ain't read.
Yeah.
Whether he's embarrassed to read or, you know, didn't want to read in front of the whole class, whatever the case is. So what Mr. Duncan decided to do was and I think everybody's done this in elementary. It's called popcorn reading. Somebody starts reading, and when they're done reading, when they feel like they're done, they say popcorn, such and such, and that person has to start reading. Right. So now the teacher isn't forcing it. It's more of your peers bringing you into the fold, right? So, of course, everybody know who I'm going to pick on. Yeah. So I read my passage, and I'm like, again, I'm not going to say your name, bro. I know you probably watch. So you remember this story. I read, and I say, popcorn such and such. Yeah. Well, now he's going to read. Whether he's stuttering through it or not, he's going to read. But the whole class is engaged, right? Yeah. But Mr. Duncan had to pivot. Right. What he was trying to do at first didn't work. So by us doing a popcorn reading, and now it's peers amongst peers, the class got way more engaged. So the same thing applies to training. Be able to read the room. Bring those people back in. Because if you know your audience, you're able to pivot. A good trainer, a good facilitator is able to do that. So that's one of the pitfalls I say watch out for. Secondly is being underprepared. It's easy to get cocky. Is in this space. It's easy to be cocky, period, right? You feel like, I'm the man, I got this. I can show up wherever I'm at, and I'm going to put on the best training that they've ever seen. I've been guilty of it. And I get in there and my data set isn't working and this material isn't extended to this warehouse. So as they're trying to build a sales order or a delivery, it's not working.
Right.
Now I'm looking crazy. So that's a huge pitfall in itself. So to combat that, prepare, man. Like when we travel, if we fly in on a Sunday and we're not going to have a training session until Monday, I'm going to prepare that Sunday evening. I'm going to build out my data sets. I know I have 8 end users in this class, so I need 8 different data sets. I'm going to build that out. I'm going to make sure that, okay, this material code works in this storage location and that storage location and that storage location because they may be utilizing different warehouses, right? I'm then going to do a run through. You know, you regardless of how good you get, you got to practice. We ain't talking about practice like AI. I ain't talking about that. AI was saying practice because he just practiced. You know, he gonna practice before
bro, you
practice.
Probably just lost everybody. The only AI they know now is technology. We saw Allen Iverson.
Damn, I don't know where I'm at, bro. End of the day, you gotta practice, right?
Right.
So let's keep that focus on, you know what I'm saying, getting in front of that mirror if that's what you have to do to go through your facilitation or running through the scenarios. Don't just show up unrehearsed. You know, like you're not going to go to a training session with a trainer, like a physical trainer. You spend $100 a month for them to help you get to go from 30% body fat percentage to 15. You know what I'm saying? And they show up and they say, well, I think we're going to do 5 burpees. All right. You do the 5 burpees and they saying, all right, now maybe you okay with doing jumping jacks? Let's do 10 jumping. Hold on, man. I'm paying you. You don't already have this decided? Like you don't have a plan in place? So look at it like that. Have your training plan in place. Go ahead, run through it, practice. That's one of the biggest pitfalls is under preparation in addition to not being able to read the room.
Right, absolutely. One thing that I like to keep in mind when I'm training is when I don't know the answer, sometimes my go-to is to just run through the process. Yeah. So quickly create some data because, we have the experience to do that on the spot. So go ahead and create that data, have the whole class, see you run through that scenario to see what the end result is. Yeah, that's a good one. Make it a learning opportunity for everybody, including you as well. So next time somebody asks you that question, you know exactly how to answer. I
like that. That's a good one.
But in the meantime, you're not up there pretending like you're embarrassed that you didn't know it, or pretending like you know it and you don't.
It gives them transparency too. Right? Yeah.
It makes a more human approach to it as well. Yep. Because they already feel like, dang, I have no clue about this system, but that's okay. You're not going to know everything. Right. And it's not on you. It's on us to get you there, Another thing you want to really watch out for is when people are not showing up to training, don't silently just cancel those trainings and not say anything.
For sure.
If you do a cancellation because people are not showing up, that's not your fault. Right. Right. So when you send that cancellation request, go ahead and document the reason why. Yeah. It was operations standstill. We had a customer emergency or whatnot. Right. They had to stay on the floor.
The one I always like to use is had to cancel due to business operations.
Right. Due to business operations. That's it. And then on top of that, follow up with leadership at the business, right? Have that communication, say, hey, I sent out the cancellation request. Right. I also want to come to you and inform you that, hey, now we are 2 days behind on training. Exactly. Just so you know, like I'm willing to step in and have another session, but we want to be mindful, of lost time so that we don't go live if we've missed some content that we should have went over. Yeah. But just keeping the communication open altogether will allow you to have some transparency and hopefully have a solution to these derails that could possibly happen. Another thing is just speak up with any risk, not just trainings that are not happening as they should, but also it could be anything.
Yes.
It could be anything. What's an example? Maybe the system refresh happened at the wrong time and you weren't communicated to.
Yeah, bring it up immediately.
Bring it up immediately because now you're waiting on the sideline for them to get everything back connected. And it's not that simple even when they get done. Now you got to go back and test the system, make sure it works properly before you then have to create more data.
Right.
You know, in the perfect world, you would love to have been communicated about these different things. But on all projects, that don't be the case.
It don't happen that way.
Sometimes they just be surprises.
Yeah.
So as long as you communicate these things and not sit in silence on some things that you observe that can be a high risk, that just brings more value for you to that project. Yeah. Because if you stay silent on these things, you can become to blame. And that's not going to be a good feeling.
You will become to blame.
Exactly. Yeah. They be ready to point the finger at somebody.
Always.
You know?
Always. So it's like a lot of things are uncontrollable, but you can focus on what you can control. And that's to bring up the issues immediately. So I second that. That's a good one. And, you know, when it comes to facilitation, in a sense, we know that a lot of clients, potential clients, customers out there, virtual training is a part of training. Some want to be all virtual. We know that only works in certain aspects and with certain prerequisites already fulfilled, right? But from a virtual standpoint, what are some tips that, you know, we can give to people that can account to or attest to having a great virtual sessions or sessions going forward? Right, absolutely. So for one, you got to know your audience. And you want to set them up to make this thing as convenient as possible. Yeah. So one thing you want to do is just recognize who's tech savvy and who's not. And the person that's tech savvy, appoint them or somebody on site that can be your eyes and ears. So when, you know, they see people looking like deer in headlight, they can let you know, hey, that didn't resonate. Can you kind of like expound on that topic that you were just discussing? Because such and such is not getting it. Right. You know, and that's nothing to be ashamed of, because if we don't know that it's not sticking because we're not there, of course. Yep. And they're just not getting it, it's a waste of time. For both parties. Right. Yeah. And I don't want to waste their time. Right. We're here to make this thing push forward, not to stay stagnant because there was no communication on whether they were getting it or not. Yeah. You know? So assigning someone to be a captain, have the QRGs readily available, make sure those documentations are thoroughly checked before you hand it over to them. Yeah. You want them to be able to follow those things without you being there. Yeah. You know? So the idea is to just ramp them up to be independent as soon as possible. So everything has to be simplified. Simplicity is the key to remote training. You know? Yeah. Even when it comes down to the trainer laptops, whatever devices they're using, going back to whether they're even tech savvy or not, you know, some things that may help someone that is not tech savvy is something as simple as just adding a mouse to their laptop. Yeah. Because those mouse tracks or mouse pads on your laptop can be a little finicky for people that never used laptops before or don't use them on a regular basis. For sure. Especially these warehouse users, they're not using laptops. They're at desktops. Right. Whether you're at the receiving center or the shipping dock, they have desktops at those locations. So now you're in training using laptops. They're out of place at that point. Yeah. And just keep in mind, the less lecturing, the better. Always. When it's remote, you're going to lose people with all that talking and lecturing. You want to make sure that you quickly get to the hands-on piece. Yes. Let's walk them through. And make sure they can get, everyone that's participating needs to be able to log in to that remote platform, whether it's Zoom, Teams, you have it. You know, make sure everybody can log in, because what that's going to do, it's going to make it easier for you to remotely help troubleshoot issues that they may come across. Right. You know? So if someone got off track, you can say, hey, share your screen.
Mm-hmm. Say, okay, I see where you got off track at. All right, this is what you're going to do. A, B, C, boom. Now everybody's back on track. And it was also a learning opportunity for everybody to see, oh, you got a little piece of troubleshooting.
Right.
You know?
In real time.
Exactly. And they're like, oh, so that's how you fix that.
Yeah.
Okay. And it sticks.
Yeah.
Because they saw it. You know? Mm-hmm. So that's just some of the things you want to keep in mind when it comes to pitfalls with training facilitation.
Gotcha. Some other things, I like the fact of making sure that you do like a tech assessment, right? Because some of the most simple things, sharing your screen or just signing to a Teams meeting can be difficult for some that have never been on a computer. And it's no knock to that. They just haven't been exposed to that. So you definitely want to make sure that you're covering those things. The things that I would add is remote. And you already mentioned that lecturing isn't the way to go because you're going to lose people. It's either going to be an early morning session. If it's an early morning session, they're just getting their day started. They don't want to hear this. If it's a late session, they're ready to go home. So either way, you screwed if you're coming in remotely trying to lecture. So one of the things that I like to do, and one of the things you should do anyway when it's a remote training is keep the energy level high as possible. So start off energetic because they're going to feed off of your energy. Right. If I'm lethargic, hey, good morning, guys. We're going to cover this and cover that. Man, they already out. They out. They done checked out a long time ago. But if I'm hopping on, hey, good morning, y'all. Why y'all got your screens on? Let me see your face. Yeah. I missed y'all over the weekend. Now everybody's getting engaged and now we can jump into the content. And you have to make it personable. We're remote for one, so call all the users by name. Right. If you got to have a sticky note on the laptop, they don't see the laptop. They don't see the note, but call them by name. Make it personable because that energy level is what's going to keep them involved. And if they are involved, that retention is going to go up. Right. So that's one of the main things. Again, go beyond the lecturing. Try to use as many live demos as possible. Whether that's you sharing your screen, hey guys, I want you to follow me as I'm doing this and doing that. But in my situations, when it's a remote training, I like to call on someone to drive the whole process. Because again, we've already spoke on building your training content out, cater to specific processes versus generic, right? So we already have that established. That is going according to business processes based off of your role. Right. So I'm going to call on this person, hey, I want you to drive. So you share your screen and everybody else is going to follow along. And if she gets hung up on anything, Melissa, I want you to troubleshoot for her to make sure she gets back on track. Now everybody is involved. Right. It's not me just talking about it. And that goes a long way because that gets everybody involved to the point where they're getting hands-on training. And it's almost peer-to-peer. You're leaning on each other because they're the ones that are there in that room together. In addition to that, I'll just say, make sure that you keep everybody engaged. That's the only way to do it from a remote standpoint. Absolutely. So as trainers, we all know that when the day is finally over, you're tired, ready to leave the customer site, and you have to take some time to reflect. Yeah. How did I do today? Yeah. But a lot of those times you get done, like, I know that was a good one. They got it. Right. I just feel great about it. Other than just feeling great about it, what are some other signs that you can look for to know that you absolutely killed it that day? Gotcha. So without going too far in the weeds about, a matrix and, other things like that. Now, this could be viewed as subjective, but, I'll just keep it really, really simple. The way I know that a session was just dynamite, I know that I just killed that. Right. The users speak for themselves. They tell you, bro, this was a great session. You're gonna be training tomorrow, right? Like they literally tell you these things. Right. I'll just give you an example of one of the most recent set training sessions that I had, and I think it was maybe 10 to 12 people, and it was just an introduction, right? It wasn't a full sales and distribution training or anything like that, but the engagement level from start to finish was on 10, right? From start to finish, and utilized a lot of gamification and things like that to keep them engaged. But once they got engaged, it was over. And gave them breaks in between, 10 minutes here, 15 minutes there, had the candy, had everything going, right? Yeah. I knew I killed it when they started asking questions way beyond an introduction. They wanted to know the ins and outs of SAP. Well, how would this work? And what if I wanted to do this? And what about this department? And how did you become a trainer? Yeah. Like those are the questions they start asking me because it appealed to them so much, the delivery and the facilitation, that they're now trying to figure out, wait, how are you doing what you're doing and how do I get there? Right. Versus how they gonna do their job, right? Right. So that's one situation where it just immediately let me know that, hey, this was a great session. But you can always just pay attention to the end users and know if a session was successful. Yeah. Whether that's, I like to test them, and I make it fun. And I'm not saying a test in the sense of an assessment. I'm saying like, hey, such and such, show me this process. Come on, Xavier. No, just show me the process. And they can do it with no hesitation, and they can follow it step by step. I know they got it. Right. And that's really the only feeling that you're chasing as a trainer. I know me personally, that it's one of the best feelings you're gonna have as a trainer. Because you know that the work that you put in is benefiting who it was directed for. And the retention rate show it.
Absolutely, man. Yeah. I've seen you set these users up for these performance-based tests or quizzes that you do for them. Right. Again, not an assessment, but you be like, you know what? We're going to take off on Friday, but I expect for you to go through, take this data set that I created on Monday, make sure it's completed. I'm going to double check it over the weekend. Right. Just to see how accountable they are on their own. And then here comes Monday, and you see all these sales orders being processed, and the deliveries have been created. Right. Not seeing this firsthand, how you operate from that standpoint. Right. So absolutely, man. And before I really get my insight onto like more signs of when you do have good training, even great trainers like us that have a lot of experience, sometimes even if we feel like we had a bad day, it still don't come off that way to the end user. Right. It's just bad to us. It's just bad to us. Yeah. To them, it may have been pretty good. But when you leave that room, you like, dang, that wasn't good at all. That was a hard one. Like I stumped on that one. Yeah. It could be just a simple, you just haven't trained in a few weeks or whatnot. Yeah, a little You're just getting that rust off. Yeah. But when you killed it, it ain't no holding level. Back. Right. Everything just checks off. It makes it worth it. You walking out of there, got your backpack on, leaving, you just feeling so great. Right. About the day and how it went. Yeah. All the engaging conversations, everybody's learning. And on top of that, leadership has probably come in, checked in the door, seeing what's going on. And everybody just having a good time learning. Right. The smiles on their face. You just know that it was a hit altogether. And at the end of the day, a lot of people have now let their guard down. Exactly. When you finally let them let their guard down, you push them to that point, you got them going forward. Got them. It's smooth sailing the rest of the way. Exactly. So the next couple of weeks of training is about to go like really, really quickly, and it's going to take a trajectory that you're looking for to make sure that they get what they needed. It's just clockwork at that point. It's just going to keep flowing because now that also includes buy-in, right? Yeah. Because when they're that engaged,
they trust you in the process, and they've completely bought in. So that's a great point. And with that being said, we appreciate you guys for joining us on this episode of Sustain Train. Our main focal point is that facilitation isn't about being perfect. Nobody's perfect. Mm-hmm. We're far from perfect. But with the amount of work that we put in behind the scenes, it may look like we're perfect when we up there facilitating, but that's a lot of hard work. It's mainly about being present, prepared, and involved. We're not just instructors. We stepped our game up. We're the guides. We're the partners throughout this digital transformation. So you should approach it the same way. Don't just show up to show up. Show up to show out. Mm-hmm. And if you value anything you've heard in today's conversation, please like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, stay inspired, stay empowered, and stay on track with Sustain Train.